Hello everybody, welcome back to the Lucy Superfox show. My name is Lucy Superfox and this is my podcast. And on today's episode, we are going to be talking about why as a highly sensitive and neurospicy human, you have to 100%, 1,000,000% build an aligned business if you are a highly sensitive neurospicy entrepreneur, because if you don't, there will be consequences. So without further ado, let's dive in. So obviously being neurospicy and highly sensitive myself, the clients I tend to attract are all highly sensitive and neurospicy. And I always use neurospicy rather than neurodivergent because not everybody is officially diagnosed. A lot of people are curious about whether or not they might be. And so I think neurospicy kind of just gives that sense that there's a flavor to you, that maybe you might be slightly different. Maybe you don't experience things the way other people do, but without giving you that need to diagnose and label yourself. Because you guys know I'm really passionate about the fact that often labels are limitations. And one of the reasons I chose not to get formally diagnosed with my neurospiciness was because I didn't need a box to tell me who I was. Like, I was willing to figure that out on my own and to understand that if I was neurospicy, there were things I needed to consider. Now, the other piece to this is that neurospicy individuals do also tend to be highly sensitive, but you can be highly sensitive without being neurospicy. And so why this applies to both is that highly sensitive neurospicy individuals tend to also be quite a few things. One, they tend to be spiritually curious, which means that you might have adopted a full faith, you might be open to the universe, you might have a relationship with God or divinity, or you might just be like, yeah, I like the idea of it, but I'm not quite there yet. And this is really different to a lot of neurotypical people who are very called to go to work, deliver a job, come away from that job, make the money, go on holiday, and live the same year on repeat for 70 plus years. And again, no judgment, like that, a lot of people are called to that. But when you are spiritually curious, there is an openness to what can I create? What can I do? What can I manifest? What can I attract as this person? And so when we are spiritually curious, one, what can happen is we can be drawn to building a business. We can be drawn to having an income stream. We can be drawn to having a side hustle. And why it's really, really important to then not get caught up in what I call neurotypical or very traditional hustle culture models as a neurospicy individual is that your curiosity was a clue about what excited you, what you felt really good about, what you were passionate about. And that's what lights you up, no matter what your human design type is, no matter what star sign you are. Like, if it fucking lights you up, that's the thing that you should be doing. But what then happens is through systems and cultures, especially in hustle culture, especially in productivity culture, is this narrative that there is like one way to success. And a big part of that is this like fucking sending cold DMs, fuck off. And like this, like, you must have this massive daily method of operation, fuck off. And like there must be this like system and strategy to every part of your business in order to be successful. And really you only set out to make a couple of grand a month. And so why I think this is really important to wrap your head around is that what can happen is your spiritual curiosity, the thing that you were curious about, that you were excited about, that you were drawn to, right? And it was, again, it's spiritual because it's an expression of your soul, not because it's spiritual because it's got anything to do with God necessarily. But that kind of curiosity about soul expression in a business and what you were drawn to and why it felt good to your body, right? Your soul, your human expression. And then you get caught up in this really masculine energy of like systems and structures and performance and productivity, and it'll fucking burn you out. It will fucking burn you out straight off the bat, because what happens is you then are in, being in this spiritually curious, magical energy is actually often very feminine, and that sends you off this way. And then you get caught up in the narratives of hustle culture, personal development, productivity culture, and that sends you off this way. And then you get down this road, you're frustrated, you're lost, you're disconnected, and you're like, I started this and I know I still really want it, but I'm just not getting any fucking results. And I'm like, because you're out of alignment with why you fucking started it. And so this is where, when they always say, set a why when you build a business. And I actually way prefer, what's your mission? What's the mission of your business? Why do you have a business? If the mission of your business is so I can say what I want to say and express myself and make money off the back of it, cool. But for most of you, you will have a bigger mission than just make a few extra £100, or you probably would have just taken a second part-time job, right? So when we kind of have this real spiritual, beautifully feminine curiosity about starting something and creation, and right, creation is a gorgeous feminine energy, but then we end up getting caught up in this bullshit masculine hustle culture, productivity culture narratives. Of course, that's going to burn you out. And so this is one of the first reasons why, as a highly sensitive neurospicy human, you have to absolutely build a business that's in alignment with who you are and what you desire, because otherwise you end up out of alignment. So that's numero uno. Number two is you're highly sensitive, right? So your high sensitivity means you are going to experience things at a much deeper level. And that includes everything from the highs to the lows, to the pressure, to the judgment, to the rejection, to the fear, to the criticism, to the good shit and the bad shit, right? You are going to feel it tenfold. And so why that's great is that if it's going fucking great, it's going to keep going fucking great, right? Because what gets bigger, right? What we focus on expands. And as a highly sensitive person, if you can get yourself into a vibration that feels good, feels aligned, feels powerful, feels abundant, you will just continue more of that. But then when life lifes you, right? Or something happens, and it could be small, but if underneath that small is your body still has a big reaction because you're highly sensitive, you feel everything deeply, and maybe there's some core belief work that needs to be done, what happens is then this is where highly sensitive entrepreneurs often spiral the other way, and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and crapper and crapper and crapper and crapper, and the worse it gets, the worse it gets. And that's because, and often you'll be zeroed, by the way, you'll be zeroed over and over and over and over until you are willing to accept the fact you're building a business completely out of fucking alignment, right? So when you're willing to accept that, then you're ready to really hear what I've got to say now, which is highly sensitive individuals build incredible businesses when they're an expression of their soul, circa point one. But point two, you are going to feel every part of your business so deeply. And so if you are not fully fucking prepared, and by prepared, I mean doing your fucking inner work, everything is going to take you out the game. The rejection, the criticism, the negativity, the haters on your post, people disagreeing with your content, a client having a bad experience, somebody being negative or dissing the way that you do something, your Instagram not taking off and not being visible, all those things are going to mean something about you. Because as a highly sensitive individual, you feel the depths of every single emotion. And this is why, like, I specifically work with highly sensitive individuals because I know how you think, I know how you feel, and also because I believe you are honestly God's gift to this earth. But I believe that in order for you to be a gift, you have to heal your wounds, right? And those wounds are often very deep for highly sensitive individuals because when we were growing up, whether you had a great childhood or a shit one, right? Whether you come from generational lineage and trauma or whether you were clean and fresh in this lifetime, the truth is you absorbed more bullshit, more noise, more stories about who you are and who you aren't than probably most of the people. And so the likelihood of you having a shit ton of problematic core beliefs, and the ones I see time and time again are, it's not safe to relax, I can't meet my own needs, I'm not good enough, I am ashamed, I need to be useful, I'm not chosen. These beliefs that show up time and time again inside my very specific and unique root cause therapy with highly sensitive individuals is that these core beliefs will either play out in scenarios that keep repeating because you're not learning the lesson on an unconscious level, or what will happen is you will be doing great until, and then when they hit you, they will take you out completely. And so what happens is we often then take a rest or we'll take a break and we'll go again, and the same thing will happen again. And this is why, as a highly sensitive individual, your work, like I would say actually your mission on this planet is to heal your wounds so you can be great at what you fucking do. Because I can sit here and be great at sharing like how I genuinely feel about everything because it's how I genuinely feel, because I'm no longer afraid to be seen. I know how to stand in my power. I'm not going to feel ashamed or shrink myself small when someone hates on me and gives me criticism. But fucking 5 years ago, that shit would take me out. And I always use the example of when I had a reel do really well a couple of years ago, but I got so much fucking hate for it, like unbelievable amounts of criticism. And silently, it wasn't obvious. I didn't go, right, I'm never going on Instagram again. I just shrunk myself and got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think I'd stopped posting altogether. And then I tried to go again and was like, oh, I've had a reset. No, I'm feeling embiggered. Let's go. And I went again, and then my Instagram didn't grow and it was flat for like 18 months. And it wasn't until I then went through a new growth phase of seeing myself, remembering my power, healing more wounds at a deeper level, right? And remember, attachment styles are wounds, right? So if you know all the fucking therapy terms about yourself, but you're not actually doing the unconscious core belief stuff, which is the magic of the work I do one-to-one with clients, right? You don't know who any of my clients are. And I actually saw a great meme the other day. And it said, I could be a celebrity's therapist and you wouldn't even know. And honestly, honey, let's just say I'm sharing that with you for a reason, because people value this work. This work fucking works, because when you change who you are unconsciously, right, at the depths of who you are, which as a highly sensitive human, you feel the depths of who you are. A lot of people are fucking oblivious and completely ignorant to the depths of who they are. But as a highly sensitive individual, you feel the depths of who you are. So if the depths of who you are unconsciously or consciously are, it's not safe to relax, I'm not chosen, I need to be productive, I'm ashamed, I'm not good enough, it's not safe for me, I'm not safe in the world, I don't deserve money, it's not safe to receive. God, guys, I've got hundreds of core beliefs that I work on, but there are a set of 25 that I work on with clients in that kind of 4-month package with me. We clear them all. And the purpose is because they are the ones that will create problems in life, money, business, and especially with your body. So once we've cleared those, we give you a chance to rewire and reprogram, but we give you a blank slate. And then those wounds that have been there for however long, however old you are no longer activated and triggered. And not only then do you show up into the world differently, but the world responds to you differently because you're carrying a different energy. You're carrying a different energetic vibration. And so this is the magic of root cause work, right? And number 3, the reason why, so again, you have to build an aligned business, because if you don't, right? And by aligned business, I mean one that's aligned with who you are, what you know to be true, and like what feels good to you. And what happens when you are out of alignment with your own values, right? Out of alignment with your own knowing, because your core wounds keep triggering you back into an old version of yourself. When your core wounds unconsciously shrink you, unconsciously pull you back, unconsciously be wounded by what happens on social media or frustrated by what happens in your emails, if that means something about you, you are going to be out of alignment every single time with the bigger mission of your business. Okay, step number 3. So the third reason why you have to build an aligned business as a highly sensitive, neurospicy entrepreneur is that the world needs more you, right? The world doesn't need more fucking master resale rights. The world doesn't need more cookie cutter fucking slide decks. The world doesn't need more Canva templates. Like, the world doesn't fucking need that, honey. Like, I don't know, maybe when you've watched this podcast, you finally felt fucking seen, or like someone heard you, or like someone told you the truth, or like someone said it how you've never actually heard it said before, and you went, wait a minute, that resonates. Because I'm not here trying to be anybody else other than me. But I can only be this version of myself because I have chosen to build a business that's in alignment with me, what I desire, what I like, what I know to be true, the hours I want to work. Like, guys, you will not see me doing client therapy sessions at 9 a.m. 10 a.m. is a push, and I do it one day a week, right? Because I'm not a morning person. So I'm not building a business that's out of alignment with what I desire and what I know to be true and what I love. And because when you do, you will burn yourself out every single time. You'll be frustrated, you'll hate on things, you'll want to change things, you'll want to tweak things, you'll overthink things, because it's not a business built on what it is you actually want. But if you don't know who you actually are, because you haven't been through those seasons of deep healing work, of deep growth, of deep transformation, what happens is you end up building a business that's a carbon copy of someone else, or it's a carbon copy of what you think was a good idea from 5 years ago. And I always say, whenever you build anything as a good idea because it makes sense or you think it will make money, it will burn you out every single time. Because highly sensitive, neurospicy entrepreneurs need it to have soul. They need it to have life. It needs to be an expression of life force, right? And so when you're going to build something because it's a good idea, honey, save that for the neurotypicals. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to build something that works with you. And that could be anything. That could be a skincare business. That could be an accountancy from home firm. That could be a trading. That could be a holistic practitioner. That could be a hairdresser. That could be it could be anything, right? But it needs to work around you, because there is always going to be a unique selling point around you. You're building a business based on what somebody else is doing, because you are never going to be able to replicate their success. Sure, you can replicate their Instagram hook. Sure, you can replicate the prices. Sure, you can even copy the fucking logo if they want, honey. But one of my best ever performing Instagram posts said this: you can't be me, so just don't try. And I would just say that about anyone. You cannot be anyone else. You can only be yourself in this lifetime. And so this is where the inner work comes in. This is where the real work comes in, to actually be the most fullest, authentic, powerful version of yourself. And that requires doing the inner stuff so that all these wounds and fears and projections and desires aren't just manifesting in a business that you don't fucking love. And actually you're able to witness, okay, right, I'm out of alignment here, and this needs recalibrating. And this is why I made something called the Aligned Business Audit, right? It's the 7 questions every entrepreneur, business owner, founder needs to ask themselves to know, in order, am I actually building a business that's aligned with who I am today, aligned with what's going on for me right now? So if you want to get the Aligned Business Audit, it's the 7 questions. It's a free workshop with the 7 questions and a downloadable worksheet at lucysuperfox.com/audit. It's the Aligned Business Audit. 7 questions every entrepreneur must ask themselves to know if they are truly building a business in alignment. So you have to, as a highly sensitive and neurospicy entrepreneur, build a business that is in alignment with who you are today. And that will mean there'll be various iterations of your business. It will change, it will grow, it will develop, it will form, it will expand, right? But only if you do. Only if you change, only if you grow, only if you heal, only if you expand. Otherwise, you will keep getting the same version of you on repeat played back to you through the business that you currently have. And if there are limitations about the stories about you tell about yourself, about money, about what's possible for you, you will see those played back to you in your business, because your business is a direct reflection of what you believe about yourself. It is the best 3D manifestation, literally shown in the 3D world, of who you actually are at your core. And every problem that gets repeated in your business is a belief system you hold. And everything that happens in your business, whether it's good, that's also a reflection of what you believe about yourself. But if every single time something bad happens, you get frustrated and angry and annoyed and like, oh my God, why am I doing this? Then that's something you need to look at in here, right? And that's why I made this audit, to help you get really clear on where the next step is and how to truly and honestly build a business that's in alignment with who you are today, and to continually build a business that's in alignment with who you become. So don't forget, you can get the Aligned Business Audit at lucysuperfox.com/audit. So I hope this episode has landed. I really wanted to share it. So many women that I work with and I get to meet through my speaking events and other things are entrepreneurs, are business owners. And I just really want to share with you and genuinely express that it is not an option for you to build an aligned business. It is a requirement in order for you to build a business that doesn't burn you out. So again, don't forget, you can get the lucysuperfox.com/audit for the Aligned Business Audit. And I'll see you on the next episode.